as well as that player from Argentina. Let's get into it, shall we? Game number 6 of the Western LCQ. One more time. Who is going to be joining us next week for championship?
Woo! I am pumped already. Toddy opening up with a sword. It's a first.
Opening up with a turtle, more importantly, right?
All right, calm down. Our job is to hype it up. But Nathan's like, yes!
Oh my god, he picked up a 2-star Leona. Oh my god.
About time we get a break in this lucky game.
That's right.
All right, so, I mean, looking at this now, Spear of Shodan open already. I mean, not something you might want to slam in the early game, but it is something that item combination will give you potential things to look out for, right? With the Nasus pair as well, now 2 mates in the shop as well. It is something that you need to at least have in your mind that this could be an angle.
I love that Toddy's been also beating to his own drum, playing Lagoon in a field that just feels uncontested. Like, no one's going for it. They're playing Lagoon traits, Kaisa or the Grave Seraphine water gun composition, but not really anybody dedicating to that tree.
And really something to look at here is just the history of Toddy playing in Teamfight Tactics right now. They started in set 1, but set 7 has really been where this breakout came to place. You know, they won 2 of the 4 tournaments they were playing in set 6 with Innovators, and it looked like they were kind of taking that same line over and over and over again. But since then, they've been able to show they have a much deeper understanding, hitting those rank 1s in ladder with the plan of playing Lagoons coming into this one. The heavy emphasis here really comes in on this last and final game, where they have said that they are willing to take the necessary risks for the LCQ.
Finds the early Jax here as well. Now has 2 Shimmer Skill. Could level potentially when the goal comes in here in just a second. And just use
pre-level.
Yeah, just pre-level Ascendancy. I can spike the Volibear, but again, worth noting that any Shimmer Skill augment here as well could really help him elevate his game plan here. Will you ever like re-roll this? Because like, I mean, Skills on Heart, you're not really on an angle. Warrior Heart, same kind of thing to a certain extent, right? Action Mark as well. Then you're fully committed. It's not very flex to pick it up potentially. Rerolling a Silver Augment always feels bad, though.
It's pretty rare that this happens, but again, is this one of those spots where you take the risk? A Shimmer Scale Heart feels like a big break that's going to be taking place here.
But it's the opposite as well, which is taking a big risk unnecessarily could also throw your chances out the window.
It's a true story. I mean, he's only 2 points behind Tech Summers right now, 1 point behind Prestovit. Those are the 2 players that are ahead. They're going to settle for the Axiom Mark. They don't hit the Volibear right away, but again, there's still multiple opportunities to pick this up. Still ways to capitalize on the early game board.
Well, we need a level in order to get access to that Volibear, and I anticipate it coming through. An awkward start. Didn't want to commit to any hearts. There was a possibility that you can go for a Warrior Heart. Warrior Heart's actually quite good in Yone because it means that you can play 4 Warrior very easily or even go to 6. But I just don't really see that in the wheelhouse based off his items. He doesn't have a bow, so that makes it very, very difficult in order to justify. Going against Josue deleted, who is all but deleted his chances for the Dragonlance Championship, but can play for that money, can play for that pride, can play for that experience, because it does seem like today there were moments that shows his lack of experience being on that big stage.
Also worth noting, right, Toddy did play Ezreal earlier on today. Did end up switching out, going to the Dragon board, right? So it's an angle is a line that he is comfortable taking, right? So Action Mark does fit that line quite well, to be honest.
You have the items for it setting up here as well. You know, holding a tier, holding a glove to possibly set up that Infinity Edge. There's a lot of different ways to kind of take this right now, but ultimately it's still Toddy's call at this point. Nothing is really pointing in a certain direction.
Do you want to say that we have a Mirage Duelist variation currently in the lobby, and many people perceive that to be one of the top 2 Mirage traits you should play around? When all else fails, you're not sure what to do, and you have things like Axiomar, kind of these generic AP augments that you're not entirely sure, you can always default to Deja, so it's on the table for Toddy. Hey, the name of the game is whether or not we can get to that spot.
I mean, how many stage 2 Dejas have we seen hit today as well? I mean, it's
almost every game.
Honestly, the narrative is lining up for it. It just feels like everything's coming down to it's just like, like who's getting it?
And we do see Shimmer Skill. It is going to be Draven's Axe here, right? Razor being stacked here is going to be one of the better combinations, but as you were talking about earlier on today, it's not necessarily the most flexible one.
It's not the most flexible one, but if you're able to play around it effectively, if you find a Varus, you're able to get the Ezreal too, the Twitch, put together a decent amount of frontline Guardians, Cavaliers, whatever, you can actually get a decent amount of value. And if you can just get even 1 or 2 components, you can theoretically ditch the Shimmer Scale at that point and play around whatever you want, or you can lean into the greed. That's what makes Draven's Axe so enticing, but also so frustrating.
Yes, it's like right those times where you're sitting at like 98 and you're like, no, this 10 would have been so crucial here. The item could have been so crucial. And then, of course, when you're not finding the composition to put together to really carry that Draven's Axe, that's part of the tough call for it.
Yes. Look at the board here coming through as well from Lucas, right? Like has the Yone pair on the bench, has a Titan Resolve slammed, has a Celestial Blessing. this could be Olaf, it could be Stoifen, right? Again, I want to go back to when we had our EMEA Regionals Finals last week, where like Lelouch, who took first, talked about how time to solve on Olaf is actually pretty good, right? So this could be an angle like Lucas is looking for right now.
And for Lucas here also, we're not just looking at this, being like the final contention for this spot. Again, look at the backstory they're having for this one. We're talking about returning to the LCQ at this point. Set 5 at the champs, set 6 at the champs. Like, this is the opportunity to break that curse. You're also sitting 2 points behind the second and third place finishers right now. Tex at 26, Prestivan at 25.
And again, like, going to 3 consecutive championships, like, it puts him in a very specific, very unique league of players that even have been at 3 championships in total, right? We talk about Juanmei, we talk about Double 61. Lucas never mentioned that conversation despite like his great consistency.
It's true. It's true. Making 3 consecutive championships is unheard of, and to go 2 of them through LCQ, so it wasn't exactly the easiest road either.
No, that's the bumpiest road you have to get through, because you're not only did you have to have those high performances to get to the LCQ spot, you have to have the high performance to get through the LCQ spot.
That top 25 cut is rough.
We'll see. It's 2 placements from Tex all the way down to Lucas, 26, 25, 24, and another 24. That is how close it is for Tex, Prestivan, Toddy, and Lucas. We're hopping on board with Josue deleted. Didn't have the best day, but his opening is still pretty decent and solid here, as we get to see just a static shiv and being able to play that nice, smooth tempo curve. Has that Volibear, but we already know that it is Draven's Axe, which means that it's less likely that you're going to have a quality Shimmer Lagoon board.
Does make it a lot harder to really lean into that, right? But meanwhile, you look at Tex Summers, like, he's just going to be running it back with potentially just going for the Sire yet again, right? And Draven's Axe really does help elevate those Sire boards quite a lot.
I mean, you are just set up pretty prime for this to be a Xayah game right now. Last Whisper, Rageblade, Draven's Axe, it's going to be cooking. You're hoping to drop some frontline spots. A lot going on.
But the problem is that he positioned not well for this fight. It seemed like he was taking more of a generic stance, but nearly ended up curving around the right side towards the carry. Ending up taking a lot of aggression, missing out a lot of stacks, and not even winning. That is the argument against things like Draven's Axe when you put him on melee carries.
Indeed. And Salvi, the dream breaker here today, sitting at the 4 streak going into this final round for stage 2. Salvi is out of contention for a top 2 spot, unfortunately. But honestly, when you look at how consistent Salvi has been, it's yet to have that breakout performance, but time and again, he's showing up to the opportunity. This is something you have to stamp on a player's tournament resume.
I mean, it's been a rough day for Sal. We'll just call it. He just really low-rolled a lot of spots. Even if he went first place, he still can't avoid 8th place for this tournament today because he's behind by exactly 8. So it's just been really rough for the German. But you know what? It's a real test of whether or not he actually has worked on his mental. He talked about how he took some time away, focused a lot on the gym, stopped streaming nearly as much. In fact, I haven't really seen him stream at all lately. Yeah. And says, you know what, I'm working on me. And today's a really good test of that mental. Mortal's like, oh, really? Oh, really? I heard you got better at your mental. Well, what if I send you 8878?
Yeah. A little bit worse than Soju's performance. But honestly, that is something big to point out. When you look at other strategy games as well, a lot of the highest level chess players that are out there, they talk about how their own physical health has been a major improvement for their performances in these high stakes chess spots as well. Salvi pretty much said this exact same thing. It was working on that personal health. You saw improvement in your game. That's a big thumbs up from this one. You know what? It's been a tough tournament here. Salvi, don't quit it just yet. I think you're doing all right.
Where was this all day? His entire board is upgraded short of this Yone too, but alas, he is just here to play the spoiler. You know who isn't in his way though right now? It is Brix on the opposite side. EMEA with a nice thick sandwich with 1st and 8th. Brix once more streaking on stage 2.
And he is, right. And again, I want to talk about something here for Salvi, because this was also like the picture that we saw in the final lobby of the Rising Legends finals, where we did really see like Salvi had a lot of strong stage 2, stage 3s. But coming around the stages like 4 and 5, he would start falling off, and that was kind of the reason why he ended up like going to the LCQ.
Looking around, Kurum sitting at the bottom spot right now. Toddy just above that. Seeing a lot of ticks in the gold here.
So like a lot of like item communities here, right? Like just slams the Ionic Spark, Slam the Sunfire Cape, really just playing to play spoiler right now, right? Just trying to close down as many people as possible.
Take them down. Show them what's what. Big flex.
Yeah, it's almost like he, in a way, controls the fate of the lobby. It's like the most influential spot he's been in all day, which is kind of messed up. It's like, what a weird twist of irony as we take a look at KermX's board, checking in with the other players who are also out of contention.
Ooh, early Neela.
Does have an early Neela going on to this Ezreal, who does cast pretty often, but also taking the Mystic shots.
Woo!
The Onyx Spark just zapping away, and just like that, Ezreal's dead. And that's exactly what Neela was trying to accomplish. That's part of what makes Neela so strong in these Lagoon comps, and a large reason why those Lagoon comps are strong in the metagame, because you're able to target those Dejas, you're able to target those Kaisas and Luxes or whatever else is in the backline.
In addition to that, too, it's just a natural stealing of that shield that works well against Guardians, which has been the preferred frontline aspect for almost every single build that we've been seeing here.
Yeah, I think that when people really learn how to take those Guardians into the late game, it really became a big thing to look out for here. Preparation, right, one of the preferred augments for Kerm, mainly because of how he's just been playing a lot of Seraphine Graves. This game, however, not going to be the case potentially. Could still be, we never know. Sunfire board, like, what are your take on Sunfire board in general? Because like, it's one of my most picked augments.
It's really good in Lagoon in particular if you don't have Morello. The problem is, Kerm already has Morello and Omicron.
Rerolls here, better together. Celestial Blessing 2, fantastic augments. Even Knife's Edge could be something, but like Celestial Blessing 2 is very hard to pass up on.
Yeah, it's shaping up with the board nicely here too. You have a tier floating in the back line alongside of Morello. You already have the Nyla carrying an Ionic Spark. A lot of things shaping up there for it as well. You see Salvi, Double Trouble, Portable Forge, Scale Scorn Crest. I mean, just, what on so many different directions here. Running out of time, though, you're going to have to pick something.
Yeah, Infinity Force is the best offensive item that you can use. You can put it on the Lilia or the Yone. It's probably best on the Yone just because it's going to be safe, and Lilia doesn't have any true ways to capitalize off the attack damage-oriented traits of Infinity Force. So I like where Sally's head's at, but a little bit awkward. I was kind of wondering if there was any room to commit to Scale Scorn, just because he has that bow. He does not have the Olaf, though, and he is not interested in rolling. And Salvi is crushing through, dealing big damage to KermX.
Toddy falling down to 72, Bricks down to 77 as well. Bricks, he's locked up for that top spot, though, so not a lot at stake for him.
Again, one thing worth noting here as well, right? We did see that I was another player in the lobby looking potentially to angle towards that Olaf reroll angle, so maybe don't want to contest directly, and if that could be the case here. And again, Infinity Force you're talking about is an item with lots of use, can be put even on something like a Deja in the later stage of the game. Not fantastic on Deja, keep in mind, but again, just any champion that can really, I feel like Siphon, for example, also is a pretty decent user of it. So I feel like it's going to be interesting to see where he's going, because he hasn't rolled down to try to find that Yone. So he is stable enough as it is right now. So interesting to see how this fight is going to go.
Tax showing you what we're talking about. Having that Rage Blade and that Draven's Axe onto that Varus.
As well. Like, the tempo here is insane.
Does get it, but also look at this. Braum has made his way to the back line, which means the Varus won't be able to attack nearly as quickly as he would like to. Oh my gosh, almost able to get a couple of snipes. But Salvi's tempo is just so high.
And Texas sitting at 20 gold. I think they made a good call here to roll it down, but when you roll it down and you take a loss, it is a bit hard hitting. I think the Draven's Axe is kind of padding that a little bit, just, giving a little pat on the back saying, here's some gold, here's an extra item, don't give up yet.
Silent Bow.
That's actually a kind of a bad spot there for Tex then. He ends up getting an extra bow, which, is nice, but something to think about for Tex, not able to hit on 6. That could cost him the king of top 4s today. Never bought 4 a single time. Is he in a trouble position right now?
I mean, yes and no. Board strength not the best, but I think that they're still in a spot where they can hit those big spikes and something can really happen. There are times you just roll it 4-1 and hit your 2-star carry right away. That can happen, and, especially because next couple fights, we're seeing a Rage Blade alongside Draven X. You can spit out a lot of gold.
I want to see.
Perfect 0 stacks on the Draven's Axe as well. The component still underneath the Nasus on top of that. So perfect spacing out here. And it is going to be another bow. So Giants they are open, even potentially another bow item now. He just has it open, can slam that now, and then start looking towards that Rage Play potentially.
Potentially. I was actually thinking just very briefly if there was merit to Rapid Fire Cannon instead, because you can play around the sword a lot easier than you can play around the extra bow.
I mean, Sarot Portal, stuff like that, again, is also open with the bow. Not the traditional way of looking at it, but it is an opportunity.
Yeah, it's definitely up for debate, and that's kind of what we're leaving up to the analyst segment. For now, though, Toddy is having a 3-item Xayah and working onto this back line. Bricks trying to get away with not rolling. Bricks did seem to pick up an interesting combination of Blue Battery 1 as well as Swift Shot Crest. All of a sudden, is it going to go from maybe one Xayah player to 3. It's very unusual. There is Yone's being stacked up as well, and Twitch is being collected. There is a possibility with that Switch Archives to go back into Yone.
And we haven't seen that many Xayah compositions really pieced together today. It feels like this has been one of the more rare champions that a team has been built around, but I'm not sure that we've seen a lot of possibilities for the unit to be built around either, Rita.
No, we didn't see like a lot of like Swift Shot Crest openers. We didn't see, like we saw one Scope Weapons 2 opener, right? Like we haven't really seen like the avenues for Yone like really shine through.
Well, maybe now we'll get to see that Yone. In the meantime, with the Feathers Fly being buffed recently, Xayah has been getting more love this patch in particular. Toddy with a unconventional level to 7 while putting together a
Salvi
7
as well?
loss streak. Salvi is 7, which makes sense because he's at 100 HP. And so Toddy is hoping that this is a level 7 and loss, but he's trying to be competitive. It's a very unusual move, and he might get exactly what he's looking for because his front line has crashed. Oh my god, that Feathers pullback. Is he about to lose his streak?
Oh no!
Oh.
He does. So is this what Toddy wanted? Because he wanted to lose by the fewest units possible, ends up winning and snapping his loss streak, preserved a little bit of HP at 53. I can see it both ways, but it is a lot of gold that we just lost.
It is a lot of gold, but again, you still have that padding from the Draven's Axe. I feel like that Toddy's making the right call here as well, because you still have to have a top place finish on this one.
It's true.
You're 2 points behind Tex. You're 1 point behind Prestivant. At these points, you're going to have to take weird-looking risks at times in order to maximize your chance for the high finish.
The thing is, I think we leveled for, what, the Senna? It was very unusual just to get that 2 Rage Wing in. So, you know, maybe that ended up helping Toddy, and you're right. He has Draven's Axe. Maybe he doesn't greed it anymore, play for HP preservation. We've seen people try to play from behind and not be successful. This could have been very low-key one of the most important plays of the day for Toddy.
Reforge on the tier. Definitely agree with that one. Kurum with a Psalm in play. What is something getting reforged here? I mean, this is like really close on this. I'm just looking at a tier and I'm like, oh, please give me a blue buff. Wow, big reforge.
Oh man.
From Kurum here.
So he gets Infinity Edge, no Jewel Gauntlet. He could put this theoretically onto Sam, could also put it on the Neela that already has 2 items. And looks like he's going to go for just that. Hope that this is enough, but no defensive items on his front line, no ZZ Rots. Going to be a little bit tricky as Neela tries to work onto the front line. And seeing whether or not this Sam can get the damage through, but it just looks like Kurum lacks a little bit of that oomph right now to finish off decisively.
Neela stealing some of the shield here, though, still holding down a little bit, but I feel like the damage just missed, and Som's going to get isolated now and going to crumble under the pressure. Just really no way to claw this back.
That was nice, though. Able to at least get that snipe. And Kurum's in a pretty decent spot, but still holding so many pairs.
And again, like you're talking about the holding of the pairs here, Battle Mage, Grab Bag as well. A lot of components open here. No reroll to work with as well here, so Grab Bag is going to come through.
Here we go.
But I was looking at the left side of the screen right now. Okay.
ZZ Rod's not bad.
Goes directly to level 8 here. Says that's the highest chance he has of hitting his pairs. Everything in the shop is skipped instantly.
This is the way you used to play the Lagoon. You used to actually roll a lot more on 7 to try to stabilize, and now Kurum's going for that level 8. We're also checking with Lucas, who's rerolling his Augment, seeing if it can help his board state. We don't really know what's going on with his board, so we're going to take a look at the aftermath.
Also Battle Mage here. Okay, so again, worth noting that Yone does, scale with the AP here, like the way of the Huns. It does have that every second auto attack scaling with the AP, so it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. While it might seem a little bit counterproductive, he is level 7. He's going to probably be going into Siphon. It looks like double time to Assault BT is like very good items for I have a Siphon or Shioyu.
This is temporary. He's already at 7. He has no ways rerolling for Yone. Yone does incorporate a little bit of AP scaling, but it's not his best trait. You definitely want that 80 focus if you're rerolling Yone. Ends up taking a huge amount of damage on the Yone and taking a big loss. Tex coming for that top position, able to get that crucial victory. He has a Varus too. And he also Celestial Blessing too. So Tex has the fundamentals to make a really solid stage 4 board.
So again, we've been talking about we want to play Siphon from ahead, right? So is he going to be falling behind, quote unquote, if he starts going in on fall 5, for example, right? Because again, the tempo, he's going to be down a little bit in that, but he has to do a massive transition coming through on fall 5. Yes, he does have 80 gold plus whatever he has on the board. And Saya 2 is found for Toddy.
Saya 2 is found for Toddy. Breaks hits for Con 2. A lot of the Rage Wings crashing the Convergence at the same time. It's a really good question.
Oh, pair of Terras. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is time.
the world is just gonna like revolve around Toddy's board now. Like that is just gonna be the case. It seems like, right? Like
maybe I feel like 1-star Terra in these spots definitely can help provide that front line, but also
a lot of guild.
It's taking a lot of spots, and his board is almost entirely 1-star, except for that Xayah 2. He has almost no gold for this Draven's Axe as well. And Toddy sending it at 4-2 might have been a move that can pay off for this fight. But is he going to cap himself up? Is he even going to win this fight? This Varus is about to ramp up. Another injection of Draven's Axe, and he takes a loss that is devastating for Toddy. I thought if he was able to get that win, it would have been not so bad of a spot, but now I'm not so sure.
Well, you are just, it's pairs of everything, though, that you have going on here right now. Pair of Idis, pair of Terras at this point. You need a high finish. You're going to have to take these odd risks at times.
But is Terra even that good for this board is what I'm trying to say. Because while it stalls, it does something fundamentally the same as Idis, and then you don't have a lot of board to support the Xayah in a meaningful way.
I mean, I do think that the guild sacrifice is a huge call to make from that spot. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree. You just have to take it from their perspective and say, what is Toddy trying to accomplish?
I think that's what I know about this carousel, right? There were 3 spats here, which means that like, there are gonna people that might end up like walking away like, you know, disappointed because they just couldn't get a priority component, right? Again, you see 1 spat left over here. President as well as I think Ursa Lucas are going to be very happy about some spats, but where they're going to be going, that's the big question here right now. And this is what President, again, another 4-5. The 4-5 Deja angle is something that persisted all the way throughout Dragonlance into the Uncharted realms as well. And he needs to like make ground. That's going to be super important right now because he needs a Deja too.
Okay.
That is the big thing about these 4-5 angles. They've been a lot more inconsistent because of the addition of dragons into Uncharted realms. And so far, he's not hitting here. Has this a rocket, though. That's one of the key units to help bring up his average placement, which is really what he needs right now.
God, look at hunting for that Deja 2 as well. This feels like such a necessity right now. Going up against Kurum, also from NA. Again, Kurum, I don't think is in contention at all for this top spot right now. For Prestivant, this is a major round right now, and his board is crumbling under the pressure. The Sohm just tearing apart the splash damage for these units, and the Nyla looks untouched right now. Prestivant taking a massive hit from Kurum.
Yeah, and Prestivant doesn't have the support for this Deja. 1-star Deja can theoretically be stable, but needs to find more of that meat to those bones. Speaking of the meat, Tex at level 8, trying to find that Xayah, but knows it's being contested, has kind of been throwing every unit in front as Easy Rat Portal has been very clutch. Deleted ends up hitting a Deja 2, so there's that many fewer Dejas left in the pool for everybody. And I have to imagine that Tex has a board that is okay for now, but he's trying to pivot. If he's going to be, he's probably going to lean away from the Draven's Axe starting from that because there's so many ices out of the pool. That means that he has so many units to hit, it's going to be very expensive to pivot coming to stage 5.
Yep.
I mean, again, like looking at this board, it's like, again, I feel like this board is like lost stronger on Texas side, right? Because something I want to highlight here is that we saw Dace like, during the Rising Legends finals where he actually was like heavily prioritizing a Varus 2 with items when he even had a Xayah 2. Like, Varus 2 holds out so well in the middle of the game here. These positions are like so important because the thing is like Varus buys a lot of time.
Oh, wow.
And Xayah needs a lot of time, right? But again, until you have the Bard 2, the Shyvana, all those pieces around the Xayah, staying on something like the Varus that can fend for itself might be the better play.
Timing. Timing of that transition can mean a lot, and sometimes it stacks up to the lobby, sometimes it stacks up to your units.
That win from Tex was massive, now on a streak. Deleted takes a loss, so does Brix and Prestivant. Let's take a look at the Treasure Dragon and see what's up.
It's a regular one as well. No chaos, no order. It's just going to be the good old-fashioned Treasure Dragon.
Okay, but we found Terra 2. That's something that we missed. Now, Terra 2, we're talking. Actually able to play this Dragons with the Swift Shot. Still one of the more unconventional Xayah boards that you'll see in quite some time. Ends up choosing Infinity Edge.
He can go 5 Swift Shot here as well, even though it is going to mean he's going to be giving up a tank item on the Ida, so probably not ideal, but it's an option that is present right in 5 Swift Shot. Yes, it's a chase trait, probably not the ideal. But what do you do here? Do you reforce the Spatula? Okay, reforce this instead into an Edge of Night. I guess that goes onto the Jace. Could do that, okay. Oh, I get this makes a lot more sense, right? Just say, you're talking about like ditching the Draven Axe at this point inside the game, Dan, so.
Yeah, the only thing is that I kind of was thinking of whether or not Toddy wanted to go for a Last Whisper. Infinity Edge is great, but Last Whisper is very crucial for your strategy if you're all in as Xayah is your primary damage source. Everything else is support. The Jace damage, while not negligible, is support. Same thing with the Terra. Let's see if this pays off for Toddy. This is an unusual position. I haven't played this board many times.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, you pointed out that the Terra is a very strange unit to pair with the Xayah right now, and stacking up against this Deja right now. The Deja has the corner to deliver this punish. Can this board get it done right now? Xayah taking a pretty big hit, but we have just begun the fight. That was the first sweep. The second sweep, still delivering a little bit of damage there, and I don't think this Deja is necessarily going to get it done. Not enough. Hostway deleted is deleted from the lobby.
That's right, which means it releases more Dejas into the pool. Precedent takes another loss. Brix also is falling, but he is guaranteed, so it doesn't even matter if Brix goes 8th here. In fact, when you talk about griefing the lobby, there's so many Xayah players. This man actually was griefing the lobby.
I mean, I can't figure out why Xayah's been like all set right. Like he's just been saving up, to come out here, just like at like the close to the final ditch effort of like the entirety of the set, right? And that's like the name of the game for Xayah. For like you have to have these really high roll situations, Nathan.
Lucas hit a Jax 2, hit a Xiaoyu 2 on this round. Lucas at 81 health on a highlighted win streak right now. It's all shaping up again.
Oh, big
Brix,
transition.
Save for this one. Nice Zephyr to knock up the Bard in this spot. Xiaoyu looking at the backline right now and walks to that backline. Xiaoyu looking like it is a massive threat to Brix right now.
Oh dear, no way to deal with it. Usually Xayah's supposed to be a good matchup into the Jade, but it's a Xayah 1. It's no gold Draven's Axe. The Xiaoyu turns around, is like, who was tapping my back? That's right.
Just
and
a
Lucas
Hulk.
is at 81 HP, Precedent down to 9 HP, which will basically put Precedent out of contention. And Lucas is on the doorstep to potentially join us once again in the Dragonland Championship from the Last Chance Qualifier.
And this is a clutch spot that we're talking about time and time again for these players that consistently find these opportunities. At one time, just one time, you have to close this up right now. And for Lucas, they're hunting it down again. Major spot to find a first place.
Well, Brix just died. Precedent has hit Deja 2. Now going for Aurelion Sol. This is really tough. Just needs to fade a little bit more. Finds the Itis 2 as well.
4 Guardians available with the Spatula. Zeke's looking to support this board. A Shiv that's there. Zephyr's going to hit the front line, though. That is bad news for Precedent right now. Xiaoyu immediately onto the back line right now. Not too many options, but the Zephyr a big part of that. So where does this Xiaoyu turn? It feels like everything right now. Consistently, the black hole, it fizzles. It moves towards the Itis, and the Deja now has time to close this out. A very clutch round for Precedent.
Precedent took out his Soraka, meaning that his HP gain per turn has been nullified. At 9 HP is basically down to just his last life in almost every possible scenario.
Do you take the cone here? I know it's like a very innate thing to ask, but it's like you've been, historically speaking, you have been the most like Chalice favoring region overall, but getting that extra front line here for the Itis is going to be massive as well, right? The double AP setup here for Precedent is going to be big in terms of being able to close out the game to scale in, but it's going to be enough.
No, I was actually thinking about whether or not he wanted to pick up a Spark as well. If he had that set up, I didn't remember his snapshot of his board as we take a look at what he is able to pull off.
Oh my.
So from here, Precedent does have another component they can farm. He has 91 stacks. Maybe can make like a very clutch defensive item, or maybe get like a BT onto his Aurelion Soul in the middle of the fight.
So much stuff can end up happening here. And like you said, the middle of the fight, that's a very heavy emphasis to make at this point, because now you're having that one item that can completely change the game. Up against Kurum, who's got this home to the back line. The Nyla not in the right spot for this, though. However, Nyla can naturally contest these Guardians by stealing a shield when it's available. The Zoe safety bubble coming in as well. The Itis is still holding it, but the Deja taking a lot of splash damage right now. Nyla still alive, still untouched on this one. The Guardian Aurelion Soul holding it up. Precedent is so close!
Oh! Barely living
And
by the skin of his teeth.
And you can reforge now as well, right? So yes, it's a laser component here, but the reforge itself is going to be massive here again. Do you reforge the cloak? Do you reforge the bow? Like, what has the highest upside here? And it's going to be the
Chalice.
Oh, and when his back is to the wall, summons the power of K3 Soju's trademark item. Is the little bro down and out, or can he make the most miraculous comeback you'll ever see in TFT?
I mean, it's going to have to be miraculous right now, but he is set up for it. Still, with a strong back line. The positioning here not looking the best right now. Xiaoyu in position to take this one.
Well, he does have the right side corner, which makes it a little bit trickier for this Deja to get surrounded.
Oh, no.
Deja gets immediately tagged by the Xiaoyu. There's no one to be able to help him all day. It looks like Precedent's positioning has been slightly off. And when it counts the most, Precedent falls again. And that will do it for the North American hopes. Precedent came so close, came into this last game in third place. Eliminated will not be joining us in the championship.
And we were talking about Salvi playing spoiler, and these situations, like exactly like this one, is why, right? Has a strong board here, punishing some of the boards that are still trying to get into like the last-ditch effort here. As we're going to heading into the Sentinel here, a trap claw here, a Banshee's claw even, sorry, should I say, being on offer, but again, another positioning minigame now being offered to Toddy.
Yeah, we'll see. Toddy's done a good job to hold on, but remember, the most important person for Toddy to outplace is Lucas, who's currently in first place, and Tex Summers, who's currently in third place. Tex has a 2-point lead, and so Lucas and Toddy have to outplace Tex Summers by 1.
And that is going to be massive, right? Because he's looking at a level 9 angle right here. We'll like to see that final bit of economy just to get those extra few couple of rolls in. Still has a lot of gold to work with, so it's not the end of the world here. Ocean 2 on offer, but obviously not going to be the case. Not what he's looking for right now. He's looking for something like a Bard, maybe?
Oh, that's a nice too.
That's also a massive spike, yep. Bard as well being found here now just to shore off the composition if he really wants it.
Yeah, I think the Bard's really important. Gets the Mystics in. Not to mention the Bard's secondary effect is really huge. Toddy needs to come up big. He has Kurum who's streaking. He has Luke's on the other side. Does get the Terra, Zephyr, and the Shroud. Also, Xiaoyu is going straight to the backline access. Who is going to be able to get the edge? Lucas wants to finish off Toddy with his bare hands. The Xiaoyu stands in the way of the Xayah, and the Xayah is cleaning up the dragons one by one. Looks like no one's really taking down the Siphon, but it seems like all of the backline access has been dealt with. And I think Toddy is going to be able to live. That front line is just a little bit too strong. Wait a second. That Siphon was able to at least bite and survive, so at least Lucas won't be taking the most amount of damage. As we are going to overtime, this Siphon refuses to quit. Toddy stays alive.
Tex Summers, 33 HP, streaking at the top of the lobby, trying to manifest his position as a person who is now in the pole position to take home that spot. Goes level 9 on top of this as well.
Wow, Tex Summers. 2-point lead. Again, if Toddy and Lucas do end up outplacing Tex, they need a +2 gap or more. We're going to tiebreakers.
Look at the items as well. Like this Draven deck's just been putting overtime for Tex Summers.
I mean, yeah, that's entirely the point. It's like the Loot Master argument. Is that, you just need a lot of items for this composition. Tex Summers, when his back's against the wall, can he make it happen? The Zephyr lands onto the Shyvana holding 3 items. That's huge.
That is not the spot you want to be in right now. The thing that I'm looking at is that this Xiaoyu is not holding items, though. That's a massive threat that happens onto Xayah right now. Connected to the Siphon right now, but the Siphon's charge is not going to be on Xayah right away. Very easy win from Tex in this spot, and Lucas taking a big hit. Lucas needs a strong finish in this one.
What happened? Lucas was at 50 HP. He was looking good. Kurum takes a bot 4. But the 3 players of focus are still the same 3 players, and Lucas, who looked like he was in a good spot, all of a sudden is down to his last life.
It's just a complete flip that has taken place on this one, and Toddy with that strong board as well, and I just can't believe when you look at this, how many Xayah compositions have suddenly broken out in this particular game.
And it's such a bad matchup for Lucas when he can't access the backline. Xayah has traditionally taken advantage of Jades going back to the beginning of the base set of Dragonlands. It's just been really tough for Lucas to get anything going against these Xayah comps.
And furthermore to that, we saw Lucas hit the Xiaoyu too early, but still sitting with 5 items on 1-star units ultimately. Now granted, Gnar much more of a utility unit at this point, but this is a crucial fight, and right now, frankly, I feel like they're looking a little outpaced.
Salvi has a chance of eliminating Lucas from contention right here with the mirror matchup. Does have that bar too. The Temper Fate was not able to get a lot done, but the Siphon from Lucas is starting to get drained of HP. The big Rampage bite for the Shield turnaround with the Jant stays, and I think that's not going to be enough.
Oh no!
Lucas is dead, and the dream of a 3-peat appearance is gone with it.
The dreams of Brazil might also just be gone in general here, right? Toddy took another loss here. Tex Summers is looking like he's just going to be the one to take it home.
The only caveat is that Toddy does have the tiebreaker with more wins because Tex Summers has all top fours, which is the second tiebreaker. So if Toddy can win out Tex Summers gets third place, that is a tall order for Tex Summers, who has done an excellent job to put themselves on the precipice of qualifying for the championship.
Again, Spear of Shojin here on the board. We talk about time is everything for this Xayah composition here. And just getting that Spear of Shojin onto the bar is going to buy so much time.
It's Thieves' Gloves for the Jace in the backline. 2 massive tank that's shaping up in this spot. And what ultimately it always comes down to, Dan, time. Xayah needs time, and that is it. If you have the time, Xayah can carry it home.
Going up against Salvi, and again, it's a good matchup, so just to get that win and hope that Toddy loses to either Ghost. Tex can't die here either, but if he sends Salvi second in a miraculous 22-point swing, he could guarantee himself to the Dragonlance Championship. That is siphoned down. Xiu is next. That is not many units dying for the side of Tex Summers. Is this a 22 HP swing?
What on earth happened in this one?
2 HP is all that separated Tex Summers from being able to advance. But pretty much is unstoppable. Nobody able to get it done. That's a Shyvana 2. Lock it up.
Wow.
I mean, this could be a double knockout as well. Because Salvi is going to be facing against Toddy. It's not going to be a double knockout for Tex Summers, you're right. But even then, like Tex Summers, he is in such a fantastic spot, right? And what again, none of us were talking about how LATAM was going to come in here and, take a spot from this chat. We're talking about President, Salvi, NA versus EU, EMEA. This has just been it's such a surprise.
It's a fight for the life, but it's almost a no-win situation. Toddy, Salvi, no matter what happens, one player will be eliminated, which means Tex Summers has all but guaranteed him a spot in the Dragonlance Championship. A valiant effort from Toddy, who has put on some of the most interesting and hard decisions yet today. He's going to fall just a tiny bit short. But man, this guy has improved a lot in TFT, and he has a lot to be proud of. Tex Summers will be joining us as our second seed.
Wow. 1 point. Just 1 point is the difference in this one, too. Coming into this final round, Tex Summers sitting at 26 points. Toddy sitting at 24 points, but it's an 8-7 breakdown now. It doesn't matter where it finishes. Tex has locked it up.
Both these players have hard games as well. You looked at Tex busting out things like the Cannoneer Namzi, the Mage Namzi, playing Xayah. He played pretty much off meta almost the entirety of the day. Toddy going off meta the script as well, even when he's playing things that we've seen, like the Xayah, this Terra composition. Again, I haven't seen too many variations of it. Hits that Terra 2, follows its instinct, and is rewarded. And I have to say, even though Toddy is third place today here, he is top 2 in my heart. I think he has captured me. I'm looking forward to the next time we can see him compete in international competition.
This is just a wonderful day of TFT that we've seen take place. It always has this bittersweet tone to it as well. Like, you see all the players just playing just absolutely to the extent that they can, and you're seeing those moments get displayed. Just do you have the opportunity to do it? A beautiful day of TFT.
And here is the potential coronation moment. The Xayah 2 versus the other Xayah 2, but from 2 different angles. A great disarm. Good positioning from Toddy. Seeing whether or not the Xayahs can pop off. I think this last Whisper might make a significant edge onto that front line, especially with the Bramble Vest trying to stop everything. And there is just too much domination. Tex Summers, congratulations. We'll see you next weekend.
Wow, just what a day, Vita. How much better can you possibly get?
I mean, we've seen everything, right? I feel like one of the most important things, right, is that we've seen like how this patch just highlights every single